past weekend, we had the Rays games on. Of course, the first, or I should say the last games of the season going into the All-Star break, the halfway point.
Sure.
It's kind of a time that people really start paying attention to how, the Tampa Bay Rays or their team perhaps are doing.
Right, and this is the time for a team to reset if they need to get their act together and enjoy this All-Star break or participate in the All-Star break, depending upon what player you are. And so when I think back, I don't miss my sports reporting days. We've talked about this.
I know, we love where we are.
This is what I love. But there's one person, there are quite a few people. You meet these wonderful people over the years that you talk to and you interview. And when I covered the Rays on a regular basis, the regular part of my day included talking with Joe Maddon. And as I've told you before, I always got, you got great baseball insight, but you also got life lessons.
Yeah. You know what? There he was, of course, the former Rays manager who brought an American League championship to our hometown. But we want to talk with him today.
Yeah, of course, as manager, he went on to win the World Series with the Cubs. But his success hasn't been limited to the baseball field. I like to call him, I'm sure other people do, a Renaissance man, author, entrepreneur, and just all around great human. Such a pleasure to catch up with Joe Maddon. Great to see you today. How you doing? You're in Pennsylvania. What's going on?
I am, ladies. Good morning. Wonderful to see you. And that is some B-roll footage right there. Wow, the different hairdos. I'm in PA. I'm in my pad in Pennsylvania. I live right on the Valley Country Club golf course. This is where I grew up. I grew up over the hill right here in Hazleton. And so that's what I'm doing. I'm doing like charity events, golf. I'm doing some speaking engagements, like little fireside chats. Chicago and other places. Going to Vegas, going back to Chicago to do Tunnel to Towers events. So that's my existence right now. I'm not complaining. I'm actually really enjoying it.
Good. Love to hear it. I've been meaning to catch up with you for a bit now because your book came out a couple years back with Tom Verducci, and so many great concepts to take from this book. There it is, the Book of Joe. I want to bring something out that I noticed when I had a chance to cover you for years with the Rays. The culture that you created with that Tampa Bay Rays team was so unique. And that's something you harp on and is relatable to not just people who are part of MLB, but in any walk of life, in any business, how important culture is to bring success to what you're doing. What are the key things for you that make that happen?
Well, briefly, when I was in 1985, 6'4", whatever that was, Gene Mauch was the manager of the Angels, comes to Instructional League, and I'm just doing my thing. I'm running the camp, and he walks up to me one day while I'm throwing batting practice and says, "You've created a great atmosphere around here." I had no idea what he was talking about. So I went home that night, and I thought about, what's he talking about? So I wanted to be able to intentionally recreate that, because that's something, if it happens organically, that's wonderful, but you can't rely on it annually. So I really tried to figure out what it was, and it really came down to communication. It came down to relationship building. It came down to these exchanging ideas, constructive criticism. All these things are part of that. And eventually, when you are that open and honest, eventually both sides really prosper from that. So it was one comment from Gene Mauch, very famous manager. I don't think you ladies know who he was, but he said that to me one day, and that really got the wheel spinning, because I knew I wanted to be able to do this intentionally. I didn't want to rely on it just happenstance. So that's how it began. And I really realized the importance of culture and how that really permitted success to occur.
Open and honest. It seems so simple, but yet so essential. Joe, I want to piggyback off of that one. I had read somewhere that you said in a podcast, if the right opportunity, the right club came along with those culture elements that you just discussed, you may say yes, you may get involved again. Give me an idea of what are some of those culture things that you look for in an outside organization that you then want to be a part of.
Balance. That's the most important word there is. I'm not an extremist. I'm not a very highly conservative. I'm not highly liberal. I'm more of a moderate in that sense. I believe the gray party should be considered, being that you understand both sides. I like balance. And if somebody within the baseball world was wanting to achieve a balance between old school tenets, new school tenets, and I would call that being in school. If you want to be in school and being open to daily motivation, reading your players, reading your coaches, reading the game itself, who are we playing tonight? I believe that's the most important thing, is to, be open to those kind of concepts. So I want a balanced approach in everything that I do. I'd like to believe that I am. I watch the news, I read newspapers, I talk to people, and everybody wants to take sides. And listen, at the end of the day, you have to, choose what you believe in, and that's fine. But even if you don't believe in what I believe in, that doesn't mean we can't be friends. That does not mean we cannot cohabitate. That means we got to find some common ground here, because there's going to be strengths on both sides. And that's it. If that situation existed and somebody was interested, I'm all on board, because I am that. I just don't believe in polarization. I believe more in unity.
Oh, I wish there was more of that out there, right?
Definitely need that. I understand that you love to keep up with your former players. So to name a few, Javi Baez, he's in the All-Star.
Yep.
He's participating this week, and Kyle Schwarber. With some of these guys, how do you stay in touch? What do you like to share with them? That's awesome.
Yeah, Anthony Rizzo just had a baby. Riz just texted me with a picture of the baby the other day.
That's great.
Jason Hayward, even Tim Buss, who was my vice president of stuff with the Cubs, meaning that Bussy might be the funniest guy in Major League Baseball. He was so vital to our success. So he's with the Angels now, so we stay in touch. Chico Fernandez, he was the video coordinator for the Rays for so many years. All these guys, on and on. It's either a text, either somebody that we run into that, hey, would you pass this along, please? I just did a golf tournament with Dave Hollins up in Scranton area, and David was with me with the Angels back in the day. We laughed for about, 10 minutes, just crying, laughing. It's wonderful to stay in touch with these guys. Javi is a great story. I saw him, I watched video in the morning, just briefly, and he turned a double play. They put him at second base yesterday. He started a double play. It was so good to see that. I looked at his numbers. His OPS is near 800. He's on the All-Star team again. This guy is one of the most charismatic, gifted players in the game, and I'm really pleased that he's finding his stride again, because he is good for baseball. I love charismatic players. I love players that have this greatness gene within them, and it's not inhibited, and they're not concerned about making mistakes, and they have great instinct, and they see things in advance. That's Javi.
Oh, good stuff. I love that breakdown. Unfortunately, the thing I don't love when I'm told I'm out of time. And I'm being told that right now by producers, unfortunately, Joe.
Where do I go?
And I know, again, you're relaunching your foundation. You have an event on Monday up there.
Yes.
Best with that. This has been fun.
Yes, and I love that we have this relationship and can still stay in touch. That's what you get from you in this industry and in your industry and in all others. So it's so great to catch up with you, Joe. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Natalie. Nice to meet you and see you again. And Roxanne, you were so wonderful to me back when I worked with the Rays. So when I had this opportunity, I definitely wanted to do it. Wonderful to see you too.
So appreciate it. Thank you.
Take care.
Be well, guys.